Join us for an enlightening experience where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness. Coming live by Barrett Kunyan.
Well, here we are again, and we have my beautiful brother, friend, Colin Joe. Welcome to the Activator platform. And today's hot topic will be the great revelation, realization, and restoration. But before we go into the theme of our conversation, which I can't wait, because there's always new listeners coming into our circle, Colin. Do you want to just give a little brief outline as to who you are in terms of the kind of nectar and information and vibration that you're bringing? Because I know I've been a student of yours and continue to be. You've been a phenomenal mentor. So I thank you for that. And, I'll give the mic to you, and maybe you can just give to the new listeners something. So how are you keeping? What's new with you at the moment, Colin? Just give it your heart, mind, and soul to the outline of, the kind of work that you've been participating for many, many years.
Yeah, just to make your listeners aware that I speak from a place of multidimensional understanding, because in 2003 I had an awakening where I met with what we call ETs, but they really are multidimensional beings, and we know very little about them really. But they trained, mentored, and taught me how the unseen world works. Because we are involved very much with the physical, manifest physical world. But they taught me how that world is created, and what it means and how it works. So we are essentially energy beings, because everything in the universe is about energy, about light and sound, electric and magnetic energies, and the pulse and rhythm of life, and how those three things work together to create our reality. So yeah, with that kind of training, I've had to really change my worldview, my perspectives on life, and to understand that all of us are eternal souls. We're not finite beings, we're eternal souls having a human experience, and that we can change that experience. Also, what I'm going to be speaking of must be understood in the context of the ascension cycle we're in and our connection with higher dimensional beings. I understand that connection because I've had that connection, but many people don't understand how their connection to their soul group, to their soul family, to their soul society, and soul nations. And so people have lost that sense of value, of their values and what is value. They've lost their sense of standards and how standards work. So yeah, we live in a crazy world of physical reality, but it's behoven on us to actually transcend that and to begin to open our eyes, which I'm going to be speaking about in the Great Realisation, and to understand that the world we see outside of us is actually created by us, inside of us.
Yeah.
And taking responsibility for that is really what is our duty in these last days before the ascension. So ascension's a process, and we don't go anywhere. It's our consciousness that changes. And by raising our consciousness in our planet, all things are created new and old things pass away. And it's that creation of the new world, the new earth that we're involved in at the moment. And it's very complex. It's got a long history. I've been at this for a long time. I had many teachings on our history and our energy works, the multidimensional nature of reality, and how simple it really is if one can accept the fundamentals of it. So yeah, that's kind of been my experience up to now, and I've been bringing this information to people since 2014. Because from 2006 to 2014, I had a grid keeping contract, and as a grid keeper, it meant I had to stay away from frenetic energies. I had to stay away from discordant energies. I had to stay away from toxic energies, and to hold myself pure so that I could feed the information that I would be getting into the Earth's grids. And people may not know this, but just like we have, telephony on this planet, the cell phone towers connecting with each other. So the Earth has certain grid points, and these grid points are connected just like our cell phone towers, and information passes through them. But the Earth's natural grid points had been changed by a long history by the fallen ones who took control of this planet, tilting the Earth by bringing in an asteroid which collided with Earth and tilted the Earth at 23.4 degrees. And that disconnected us from the universe. And so what's been happening since I've been involved in 2006 is we've been working on correcting the Earth's grids. So my work was completed in 2014. When that was completed, I asked them what they wanted me to do, and they said, go tell people how it works, which has been a great challenge because I talk about the unseen world, but people actually experience the unseen world every day.
Yeah.
Their thoughts are unseen. Their emotions are unseen. Sometimes we see the expression of our thoughts, but we can't see them. And there are many things around them, like their cell phone connections. That's an unseen connection. How do we connect from a device in South Africa to a device in Bulgaria? There's no physical connection. It's done through a network of electromagnetic magnetism. So learning about the unseen world will help people to understand their physical reality better and be able to change their physical reality better.
Yeah. Thank you for that, brother. I was going to take the opportunity, if I may. There's a short video I would like to share with our listeners. It's a video about the hamster wheel mentality. But before I just show that, there's a question I'd like to present. For me personally, my interpretation, there's two very powerful forms of technology. You have the synthetic one and you have a biological one. So, and if you were to put a name onto it, a specific name that helps to define what it is, one, for me, the biological one, I would like to call it consciousness, okay? And the synthetic one is mimicking based on mathematical calculations, like a bit like algorithms. So it's kind of, it's a byproduct of a consciousness first. So you've got the consciousness first, and then, because it's like our viewpoint of technology today. ultimately it's a double-edged sword. I mean, it can be positive if used correctly, but ultimately, if you can connect to your inner self, inner stand, and understand the essence of who you are, and understand the essence of the projector, and who's projecting and why. So once you understand the fundamental questions, you begin to come off this merry-go-round, which if I can just share, and then I'll hand the mic to you, and then we'll go into the conversation of the great reveal, the realization of self, and how humanity can restore some kind of order. But if I can just put the video first, it goes.
Bioactivator helps humanity investigate the purpose of our soul evolution by connecting to the biological computer, embracing organic Wi-Fi, which is cosmic energy. In helping humanity remove itself from the hamster wheel mentality, which is fear-based energy, through these fundamental questions. What, where, when, how, who, and why we and all life exist. If you struggle to answer these questions, then you are still on the hamster wheel. Bioactivator does not attempt to heal anybody, but creates harmony and neutrality at its core, with the purpose of do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others, and to help simplify life through natural law.
So, thank you for that. And the great revelation, realization, and restoration. And with regard to the symbiosis of how we interpret and siphon information, can you add some flavor to that? And then gently we'll go into the great reveal and then look at ways of how to restore order. So,
Yeah, let me start with the great revelation, realization, and restoration. Again, it's in the context of the ascension. And some time ago, the beloved showed me that they were beginning to restore the Earth's planetary fields and the Earth's soul body and its divine design and creation template. Now, every soul being has a template, and it's this divine design template. And I won't go into how it works, but essentially, it's a Merkaba field that transfers and that creates energy. That energy is then transmitted into the chakras. The chakras then distribute that into the physical body's meridian lines through various key meridian points. They also called Cathara lines. Some people like to call them that, but that's essentially how it works. And so the Earth template is being recreated and restored. And part of that restoration is restoring the Merkaba fields, restoring the Earth's chakras, and then restoring the meridian lines in the Earth system. And the meridian lines are like the cell phone towers. They will connect us to the universal energy. Now, for 26,000 years, the Earth has had a shield placed around it, a kind of a radar jamming system that disconnects us from the universe. So we haven't been able to connect to the universal systems. Instead, we are under a system on this planet that is anti the universal system. It's the antichrist. It's antichristic, and Christ doesn't just mean a person; it means a type of consciousness. And it comes from the chakra system. Actually, the chakras 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are Karayasata, Kryst. The Christ. So when those chakras are restored, so more of the Christ energy and consciousness will come into this planet. But we're not there yet. We're in the position now where at the moment, the fifth chakra is being activated. And the fifth chakra is the color blue. So it's the frequencies of the color blue. And the color blue has a certain relationship with the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra, which is the color green, and the sixth chakra, which is the color indigo. So it's an in-between step between all of these colors are related, are in harmonic resonance with each other. So all of those colors have a frequency, and all of those frequencies have a harmonic resonance based on a certain ratio, the golden mean ratio. On this planet, on other planets, they have different ratios, but on this planet, it's the golden mean ratio. And so when the fifth chakra is being activated, the fifth chakra represents truth, of speaking of truth, the revelation of truth, where truth of everything is revealed. And as we go through that experience, as the earth soul body begins to experience that, so we will also experience that, because we are a fractal of the wholeness of the earth. Although we are separated in a sense that we resonate at a different frequency to planet Earth is a very advanced sentient being. And it is a soul. It has a history. It has an expression of itself. It has a long, long experience. And this sentient being hosts us within its soul template in order to give us the space and the time to evolve our souls into higher states of consciousness. That's how it works in the universe. That's what the souls do. They evolve into the godlikeness of the God worlds. And people say, what is God? Well, God is everything. Everything is an expression of the all one thing. It's a wholeness, as in my last video. If people haven't watched that video, I'd encourage them to go look at that, because it's a very important thing that people begin to understand as we enter into these last days, that we are not separated from each other. We are not separated from God. In fact, we are contained within all the multiple, multi-dimensional expressions of God. And we are just part of that. So, and the other thing that I said in that video is each part of the whole carries all the information of the whole. So all that information that's out there in the universe is contained within us, but we just haven't been able to activate that information. It lies dormant within us. For instance, 80% of our DNA is called junk DNA, and it's discredited and it's discarded because people don't know what it is. But the junk DNA is information. It's like a book. It has syntax, it has structure, and all that information is about the universe. But of course, the universe is such a big place, it's almost impossible to understand it unless one has your third eye opened, and that information can come when required. It's impossible to hold all of that information at one time. So when it's required in that moment in time, it will come up. So the next step that we're going to go into now, this great revelation is being, we are seeing it. I mean, we are seeing the corruption in governments. The lockdowns reveal that our governments don't work for us, they work against us. That our governments don't really care about us. What they care about is controlling us. That whole exercise was a control exercise, and they managed to shut down large parts of the planet and victimize people. And this is all, a satanic a way of being. That's what they are not loving beings. They hate people. They hate each other. They hate everything. And this hatefulness comes out in the expression of our governments. So the laws and the regulations here have actually been designed to destroy us and to keep us in a cycle of self-defeat. So we are really on that hamster wheel where we don't know how to get off the hamster wheel. And the only way to get off the hamster wheel is to say, hamster wheel, you have no power over me. I take back my power. I take back my Christic self. I take back my godlikeness. And that then having that purpose of, I will represent God to myself and to my neighbors and to my friends. Now, that's a hard thing to do. I'm not suggesting, but the earth is going to assist us in a symbiotic way. That as we raise our consciousness, so the earth will support us. Now, the next stage we're going to go through is the third eye activation. And when the third eye activation, we are going to see the world in a different way. This information that lies dormant within us will start to come out, and there will be a great moral change and reawakening on this planet, where people will recognize their conscience will be awakened, and they'll say, hey, that's not right. And that's not right. And why am I doing this? Why do I have to pay taxes? Why do I have to get a license to drive a car? Why do I have to get a license to catch fish? Why do I have to get a license for this and that and the next thing? And people, this great realization is going to disturb a lot of people. That's why it's not going to happen unless people begin to realize for themselves that they are God, and that they have to represent themselves as God to themselves and to each other. You see, so that's and in this great revelation, the revelation is occurring, but it's up to people to see and say, hey, hold on, didn't Dr. Fauci say this in 2018? Now he said something different in 2020. Now he's saying something different. What's going on? And all this kind of questioning is going to happen, where people will question so many things, and that is part of the great revelation, and it's necessary for us to go through that a period of time in order to allow the restoration of the Earth's soul template, because when the Earth's soul template is restored, so will be our own soul templates. Won't go into the technicalities of that, but people should just understand that we live in a fractal universe, that as above, so below. So what happens on the Earth's planetary fields will happen to us. So when the Earth's planetary fields were shattered by an asteroid coming in and tilting the Earth at 23 degrees, so the rotation of the Earth, the physical Earth, is out of alignment with its natural electromagnetic fields. And then we're going to go into, after the great realization, we're going to go into the great restoration. And the great restoration will be a restoration of our relationship with the universe And one of the things that will happen is there will be a change of the justice systems here, where we will no longer be under the legal systems here, where the rules are for rulers and the regulations are for the regulators.
Yeah.
And so people will begin to realize that they've been under a judicial system that doesn't work for them. It's not a lady, blind lady with a set of scales standing there. There's someone who's tipping the scales in one direction, so that this equal justice for all just doesn't work, and it's not happening. And that is being revealed to us, and in a startling way. In that, as much as the former president of the United States has been, going through a lot of, he's been cited for all kinds of things, and he's going to court for this, and I think he's got 3 or 4 court cases against him. That is the justice system, which is totally corrupt. It doesn't work, and it's only there for certain people. That's why so many people are accused of doing things wrong. That is revealed in newspapers, but they never go to court and they are never convicted of their crimes. That's the judicial system we live under at the moment. It's laws for thee, but not for me. So that is one of the great things that's going to happen. But also, when the Earth's energy fields are restored, this will also restore the energy fields of the Earth's tectonic plates, its climatic systems, and in a sense, you'll have 2 worlds at that stage. You'll have an energy world, and you'll have a physical world. And the physical world will have to come into alignment with the energy world. Now, I'm not suggesting an Earth tilt, which many people are talking about, tilting the Earth back. But there will be tectonic activity, which means there'll be earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. There'll be a lot of climate distress, storms, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes. It's going to be a very difficult time. That's the bad news. The good news is that during our time, if we realize our symbiotic and holistic relationship with the universe, that is the period of time that we will say, as Jesus said, if you have the faith of a grain of mustard seed, you will say to that mountain, move, and it will be removed. Well, yeah. that is the time we're going to go through, where we will realize that we control the weather. People don't understand that they are part of the weather systems, very much so. And at that stage, we will learn how to calm the storms, as it were, as Jesus calmed the storms. It's a time where we will begin to step into the power that we have to reconnect with the elementals, with the microbials, with the vegetable kingdom, with the insect kingdom, the avian kingdom, the fish kingdoms, the animal kingdoms, and with each other as humans. And at that time, we will just be on the step of going into the 8th chakra. The 8th and 9th chakra are off-planetary chakras. They're not held on Earth. The 8, 9, 10. Chakra 11 is at the center of the Earth. And chakra 12 is up in the echo worlds, which is, you could call it in the galactic galactic center from the physical aspect. But yeah, so as this fractal recomposition of everything starts to happen, and everything begins to form into a one wholeness of interconnectedness with each other and with all things. Human consciousness will either have to change and go into a new world, or it will stay the same and go with the old earth. There will be a new earth and an old earth. So we'll go through that duality, as it were, for some time before the earth actually moves off into a higher state of consciousness. Now, it's not going anywhere, well, in the sense that the earth doesn't move. When we ascend, we don't go anywhere. It's our consciousness that changes. And I've been through that process where I was able to transport myself into higher dimensions with the assistance of the higher beings I was with. They were training me and teaching me all about it, and they put me through that process so I would understand it. And it's a wonderful process, but it's also a scary process. For me, it was scary because I had to come back into this world and live here amongst earth people. For me, I could recognize that people are crazy. It's like we're in an asylum. And but that restoration will begin to restore the consciousness of many people here, and we'll see miracles start to happen. The Bible speaks of us being bitten by a snake, but not affected by it. Well, in a sense, we were bitten by the snake with the vaccines. In a sense, I think that's what the Bible was referring to. And people are dying, but they're not dying at the scale at which it was foretold by the controllers here. They wanted a lot more deaths. They're a death cult, and they are against humans, and they want to destroy humans. But humans have the power, if they would just take responsibility for it and accept it, that I am one with God and God is one with me. And I can change my experiences by changing who I am within me, by having, good values and standards, by having good attitudes. Our attitude, in a sense, will have a large effect on how we experience life. As Dr. Dyer says, our attitude determines our altitude. That's the nice saying, but in a sense, it takes us into a higher state of consciousness. I probably said too much now.
No, I didn't want to interrupt because that was overflow of nectar of information, bro. There may be some listeners out there. Of course, if you let go of fear and anger and judgments and replace it with more love and stillness, these so-called earth changes that you're referring to, because I've got a beautiful soul brother, his name is Rob, from Newcastle. He's kind of describing an event which he calls a plasma event, which is going to be, it may be quite alarming for some to try and understand the kind of core, the mass destruction that will take place. But what you're saying, not so many words, that the destruction can be lowered if you let go of the so-called synthetic things, which is not natural to the human makeup, shall we say. So within our DNA, there's so much there that we've got to let go and again replace it with more stillness and understanding and becoming, because to become independent, not dependent, that's the key in terms of, like, because a lot of people are still being programmed to a point, listening to the media, shall we say. It's the numbers are going less. But there are a few out there that are still being influenced by the sheer programming, and we're making it happen, right, brother? I mean, in terms of like, they say so, they put something out there, and they say, and then with the fear-based energy, because collective consciousness, as we all know, is very, very powerful. So it's going to make that happen. So with saying that, I mean, collectively we can create an alliance where we're not going to harbor, we're not going to energize necessarily the level of catastrophe that can take place. Because you mentioned volcanoes, right? Well, my understanding with volcanoes is letting the pressure out as well, isn't it? It's releasing as well, isn't it? With regards to restoration, does it need to really, is it a form of anger, bitterness, betrayal? Does it need to go through some process of letting go?
It's
In
karma.
terms, it's
It's
karma.
karma. The earth has
Okay,
been holding so much karma. So much has happened on this planet, which has harmed the earth. So the
right.
earth's energy fields are going to need to be healed. There's a lot of information, which is the earth's history, which is held within the soul body of earth. So that karma needs to be released and restored. And when that happens, so that's when karma returns to earth, because then we reconnect to um, the earth's memory. Our memories get restored,
Beautiful.
to the, I forgot what they're called.
So yeah, no. So with regards to some download, so when we are in that place of the I am, where we are no longer see ourselves as victims, where we see ourselves as, you know, good guardians, shall we say, and that's the way the observation viewpoint should be, where we don't take hostages, and our intentions is of the highest, because we are creating wonderful markers. We're leaving very good signatures and very good intentions. And shows like this, and that there are, one of several reasons why I felt the urge to do this, because your voice, your messages are profoundly powerful. Because it's first of all, it's do you want to like, because the mechanics, I think people need to understand the mechanics of how things structure and everything is created to a degree. I mean, it's, and then to try to simplify it as best possible so that it can be palatable, because most people, I don't know, I mean, most people hearing our conversation, how much of it is how well it's kind of sinking in. um, but it's bizarre in the sense that my understanding is very simple. How I treat people on reflection is what's happening within myself. So, everything is a state of being, is a state of mind, and how you harmonize, neutralize the acidity. Um, for something to heal, for me, the greatest healing was to understand the essence of who and what I am. Because, with my beautiful soul brother, he introduced the six base questions, which is what, where, when, how, and who and why we all life exist. These are fundamental questions. I think it's paramount, really. Our day, how our day begins. When we open our eyes, what do we see?
Yeah, answering all those questions brings us certainty into one's life. And we live in a world of great uncertainty. And people wake up in the morning and they have no idea what's going to happen to them during the day. They're afraid of being fired. They're afraid of having a car accident. They're afraid of being late for a meeting. They're afraid of being, you know, scorned by people. They're afraid of, relationships going bad. there's all this stupid fear around that people have. So when you answer those questions, you wake up in the morning with certainty. I am God. I am one with God, and God is one with me. Nothing can separate me from the love of God. You see, when you wake up in the morning with that certainty of knowledge of who I am, what am I doing here, who are all these people, how does it work? When you have that certainty, life becomes very different. You
Yeah.
know, my life is certainly very different from the life I experienced before I woke up.
Yeah.
People should understand I haven't been like this all my life. In 2003, at the age of 53, I had this great awakening. And
Yeah.
my life took a 180-degree turn, you know. Everything changed. But what it required of me was to make the commitment to embody this information and to live it, you know. And that's what the living word, if you want to be the living word, you have to live the word. You know, for many people, the Bible, for instance, they call it the living word, but it's living outside of them. When the Bible lives within you, and I'm not talking, there are many things in the Bible I don't agree with, but there are many things in the Bible that are true and are worthy of inputting, and it's worth, you know, having that indwelling, because all religions teach good standards and values, except Satanism. Satanism is a religion which doesn't do that. It teaches the opposite. And there are many forms of Satanism. But the religions we are aware of here, teach, you know, being kind to each other, good to each other, loving to each other, considerate to each other, thoughtful, and so on. So, yeah, every religion has some value because it teaches us good values. But, you know, it's that value, if it remains outside of you, then it just becomes something which is intangible. It becomes something that is not real. When you live it, it becomes real. And then it becomes true to yourself. So it's living the word that makes the difference. Understanding and knowing the word is good, because understanding and knowing the word will help you to live it.
So if we're kind of like projectors, and we've got antennas, and we are, because one of several reasons, again, primarily why I've become a guardian of this platform is to help connect to organic Wi-Fi, not the synthetic. I've got nothing against the synthetic as long as it's not imposing and harming humanity, which for quite a while it was quite evasive, to say the least. But referring back to the organic Wi-Fi, which I consider organic, the cosmic energy being of organic connection, and you connect to the ley lines, because you talked about the, the levels of dimensions. So our template's designed to be multidimensional, and so I'm celebrating this so-called event, and I've said this to Rob Shunande from Newcastle as well. This he calls it a certain plasma event that's going to take place. For me, if you're conscious aware before a particular event, that means you're very much in tune and balanced between, you know, when we talk about understanding the essence of who, what we are, and understanding that, like you said, Mother Earth is a breathing, living being, which she's going, what you said, and this, we're going through an ascension cycle process. Here's a question. Has Mother Earth ever reached this level of consciousness?
Yeah, Mother Earth is a soul that is very evolved. So she's evolved into, Mother Earth is a portion of a planet called Tara,
Okay.
which was in the seventh, eighth, and ninth dimension. And the beings on Tara, the Lanians and Muans, the one represented knowledge and the other represented equilibrium, and they were in a battle. The Elanians wanted to control the Earth's grids, and they wanted to feed the Tara grids with electromagnetic energy so they could energize everything. You know, they had very advanced energy systems. But what they did is they blew up Tara. Tara ended up breaking into 12 fragments. One of those fragments is Earth. So Earth originally comes from a planet that was in dimension 7, 8, and 9. So it holds some of the memory of itself, but that was 546 billion years ago. So over that time, after that event, Earth fell in a sense through a portal, through a black hole into this planetary 3D planetary system. So Mother Earth is a very advanced being, and she has much knowledge. Earth, the fragment of Earth that broke away from Tara held the heart chakra of Tara. So the Earth has always been precious to the higher dimensional beings, Elohim, 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 the Alcians, the various Federation Council and Galactic Councils. They created Earth as the jewel of the universe, and they've been restoring Earth's energy template, soul energy template, over a long period of time. And it was the first chakra had to be restored, the second chakra, the third, the fourth, and now we're into the fifth chakra. But each one has been restored in increments of exponentiality. So the first chakra to be restored took thousands, millions of years. And then the second chakra, the first chakra related to Earth's identity, because when Earth fell, it lost its identity. And it was no longer Tara. It had to create a new identity. This was called Eartha, U-R-T-H-A in the beginning. So Eartha had to evolve its soul body in order to reconstruct its energy fields, and that's what's been happening that I'm talking about. The Earth's energy body is being restored. And when its energy body is restored, so all the beings on Earth's energy body will also go through the same process. But as I said, it is a symbiotic relationship, symbiotic process. We have to be willing to restore, and then the Earth will assist us. Because Earth is really like a mother. She has the heart of a mother. She wants us to be restored, but she can't do it for us. But and the higher dimensional beings can't do it for us. They want us to respond and take responsibility for this ascension. Because unlike the fallen angelics, when they came here, they wanted to set themselves up as gods on this planet. And they did in many parts of the world. They came down with their spaceships, and our histories of many parts of the world talk about these spaceships coming down, and they're called chariots and various other names coming down, and the people worship them. But the higher dimensional beings, the true angelics, don't want us to worship them. They want us to worship the God within us. And in other words, worship is finding worth. I must find the worthship within myself. So I need to be able to understand my energy body and how my physical body is just an expression of my soul body. Now, people just don't get that. They are, and all that information is held within the soul body. The difference, what differentiates one soul from another are the soul codes. And the soul codes are merely the information that is held within the soul. It's like a program, like a hard disk drive. It holds information. So the soul holds information. It's just the
Yeah.
information the soul holds from one person to the other that differentiates them. But the basic structure is the same for everyone and all soul beings.
Thank you for that. Brother, I was going to say, I've got two more beautiful interviews coming up. I've got one on Saturday. I'm interviewing a chap called Donovan Truman, Juan Jose from Spain, and a wonderful guy called Darren Sissons. And the title of that is called "What Does It Take to Become a Galactic Human?" And then next week, 6th, 7th, there's a lady called Elsa Dillon. She claims that she's had amazing sighting connections with alien. I don't like to use the word aliens because it alienates us. So higher beings, shall we say? And again, the title is called "What Does It Take to Become a Galactic Human?" My feeling as to what's happening is that there appears to be a degree of invitation as well, so that the consciousness of who and what we are, raising the game and reference to the restoration, going back to the level we were once and beyond. So we're going to create I feel a new benchmark. And I've been following over the years a wonderful lady. She did like past life regression, the late great Dolores Cannon. She did she collated like 40 years of, she did like hypnosis and stuff like that. And she described the earth as a form because it has many faces, where souls come to learn or to understand and to manipulate different, how to manipulate energy and to understand the essence of which we are calling the symbiosis. Because my understanding is, as the temptation is always there, because it's like for a while, being a victim mentality based on fear based, I was always this, I would say black's better than white, or white's better than black, or sweet's better than sour, blah, blah. But ultimately, these are the tools of our trade, like masculine and feminine. Because the real you, the way I'm beginning to feel this connection is we're timeless, okay, in the sense that we could be billions of years old, but it's like David Icke, the way he put it, we are infinite beings having a human experience. So is it fair to say that a lot of souls incarnated here in order to gain merit, to also to grow? Because the challenge is, like we said, I mean, it's you need certain, I mean, to be a great custodian, a guardian, a mentor, you need to have certain credentials to withstand the stench, the density of how suppression, how we've been captive for a very, very long time, and then suddenly to put ourselves in a position where we are being a catalyst, and we are like being the light, not to bring hope, because hope is for me, it's a weak word. It's how we visualize. Would you say, after all doing all that circling, do you feel that it's important for humanity at this stage to begin to visualize this
Oh,
event?
absolutely. Oh,
I mean,
absolutely. So
because you're brother, sorry to put you on the spot, but you're more than welcome, and you're certainly not gate crashing. I mean, I would love to invite. Like I said, we've got two beautiful interviews coming. You can come on to the, if not this week, maybe, I don't know what your sessions are like, but you're more than welcome to, as an invite, to come and add more light to what it takes to become a galactic human. Do you want to add something, some flavor to that? Galactic human. What does it resonate
yeah,
in a way?
we should understand that, for instance, when I went into other space-time dimensions, I went to a space-time continuum that we call Sirius B. that is inhabited by blue avian beings, and they also have another species there called the golden silver ones, which are beings, very tall beings with golden blonde hair, and they wear white robes that seem translucent and they shine. And these beings are very shy. The gold and silver ones are very shy, keep to themselves, but they're very advanced beings who understand that their thoughts and emotions have an effect on things. So they tend to be very neutral and remain in a cloistered state to a large extent because they understand the power that they hold within them. Then you have the blue avian beings who are more electric. They're very advanced in science and mathematics, in creation, in genetics. They were involved in the genetics, in the creation of the human species and the various other species on this planet. But they have their own problems, the societal problems. They live on Sirius B, but next to them, they have this very large planet called Sirius A. Now, Sirius A is 33 times the size of Sirius B, although Sirius B is a very large planet, but Sirius A is a very large star. So it's one of the first stars we see at night. We used to call it the dog star. But that constellation of Sirius is Sirius A, B, C, and one Steve. D doesn't exist anymore. But next to them had this the large planet Sirius A, which they took me to once to observe it, to see what happens. It's a very cosmopolitan place. There are beings from all over the universe come there. It's very advanced in trade and commercial life. It's an open society, so people are basically free to do whatever they want to. But crime does exist on Sirius A, and there are also some very arguments and disconnections of energy there. But being such a large planet with so many different beings on it from different parts of the universe, the blue avians who lived on Sirius A left Sirius A to go live on Sirius B because they didn't like the energy on Sirius A. So they cloistered themselves and they don't allow anyone else from any part of the universe or their galaxy, to come into their space. They like to preserve their identity, and they're a small community of beings, but very powerful. And they are cloistered in the sense that they stick to themselves. They don't interfere in other people's business. They don't interfere, but they have a connection, very strong connection, the blue avians, to Earth. As I said, they were involved in the genetics, Enki and all, and so on, and those beings. But they broke away from the Sirius A society and cloistered themselves on Sirius B. And they're very old order of beings. They've got a long history. But yeah, like we got problems on planet Earth. We shouldn't imagine that these other high dimensional beings don't also have problems. They also have problems, and they've got to work through their problems the way we've got to work through our problems here. And the way we've got to work through our problems here is to come to our senses and realize that we're not alienated from the rest of the universe, that we are a part of the universe, and the universe works in a particular way, and we just don't know how it works. So we've forgotten how it works, but it's already encoded within our DNA. Most of the time when I was waking up, I would ask them a higher dimensional beings a question, and they would look at me and say, "Well, what do you think?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm not sure. How do I find the answer?" And then they'd say, "Okay, well, think about it." And then I would go and think about it, do research, come up with the answer, and then say, "Do you think it's this and this and this?" I said, "Yes." They said to me, "You see, you knew the answer all the time."
I mean, thank you for that. I mean, you mentioned the word DNA. I mean, in terms of words, Tell us more about, because I've had the pleasure of communicating with you on this before, reference to the human um, from 2-strand to 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, ideally, we're headed towards being 12-stranded beings, right? I mean, it's very difficult to wrap your mind around. Like, describe for us, what a 2-strand behavioral being is like, compared to a 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, what abilities will surface from raising our game and our standards?
Yeah, this is how it works. That we have the template for a 12-stranded being in our soul. So our soul holds the template for 12-strand DNA. But our DNA on this planet was mutated through various ways. People were abducted, taken off planet, and their physicality was mutated. There was the introduction of the what those beings are called in the Bible. The name just escapes me. I'm getting old. Not getting old, I am old. And the various, but we also play a part in destroying our own DNA. But having said that, when we activate our soul being by being present in our souls and seeing ourselves as soul beings, we can reverse the mutations in our physical body, because our physical body is a representation of our soul body. For instance, when I used to go into higher dimensions, my physical body would remain here on planet Earth and I would go out there. And I was confused about that, because I said, because out there I also had a physical body. And my higher self said to me, wherever your consciousness goes, the template for a body exists. So if you take that template into the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension, you will have the physical body of a 4th, 5th, 6th dimensional being, because you have activated a certain a number of strands in your soul body. And people have to activate 3.5 strands of energy in their soul bodies in order to go through an ascension. But that's getting into some very advanced stuff that I don't want to cover here, but I will do so in some future date.
Brother, I was going to ask you, I don't know if you completed your whole sentence there. Did I interrupt you there? Or did
No,
you want to? No, I was going to say that Jesse Howe, which you've had the honor of being interviewed. Yesterday, I was watching a guy called There's a guy, I forgot his first name, but his name is Santos. And he's done 30 years of research within the spiritual community. He claims a lot of things, which is okay. I'm not here to say, are you a good person, a bad person? He's helping humanity to come out of the rat race mentality, shall we say. But he said something which was quite profoundly powerful, and I just thought I'd bring it to our conversation. He was saying things like that when we look up into the sky, the night, the moons, and because he's saying how powerful, I forgot the word myself now, but he says we need to pay attention. It'll come back to me, but in not so many words, what Santos is saying, that Mother Earth is projecting a lot of the stars and planets out there. Okay. And he says everything really, we need to go within Mother Earth, because these so-called aliens and whatever, everything. Like, for example, for a very long time, I don't know how much to believe, because like as children, we've been fed information, and, we've looked at books and stuff like that. So you're trying to siphon information. But something came to my notice, that if things do evolve, so the dinosaurs, if they existed or not, because a lot of it was like, huge, you go to the Natural History Museum, and how much of what we're seeing was real and how much was fake. But if they did live on the surface of the planet, then they must have evolved. And when you evolve, you don't go to the stars and the moons necessarily. Maybe you go to inner world. Do you think that that's what's happening when you go to a level of dimension? We're saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you went to like 12. So is Mother Earth projecting a lot of what we're seeing? And how much of what's being projected? Well, I can answer that question quite easily, but because there's been distortion, there's been a hijacked. So, was Mother Earth hijacked and she called for help? I mean, I'm taking snippets from Dolores Cannon. I'll be honest, as always, hand on heart. I'm not making funny stories up. I've collated certain informations that resonate and doesn't resonate. Was Mother Earth in trouble at one stage?
Well, in deep trouble.
Right, okay.
I mentioned that Mother Earth used to be part of Tara. It's a fragment of Tara. Now, it's very difficult to understand. People will only think of Mother Tara as being a physical planet blowing up, and then one fragment finding its space in this solar system. It doesn't work like that. It's the soul template of Tara was destroyed.
Wow.
And parts of the soul template are held in different parts of the planets in our solar system. So at that stage, the beings who were responsible who were the guardians of Tara, called the Elohim, launched a rescue mission. And to restore Tara, to restore the soul template of Tara. And Earth is part of that soul template. It holds the heart chakra, the fourth chakra of Tara. The other planets hold different chakras. So this is a long, long restoration process. It's not simply in our lifetime. It's going to take many lifetimes.
But when you're talking, sorry, I interrupted you.
Having said that, while we have this time horizon and window of opportunity for ourselves, we should make the most of it so that we can evolve our planet ourselves into a higher state of consciousness and raise the consciousness of Mother Earth, which will be part of the process of restoring Tara.
Yeah, because I'm beginning to feel that being star seeds that we are, not everyone is from maybe, but it's like a rebirth. It's like we're talking about. So a degree of experimentation has been taking place here, and our observation, because the way my moral compass works and how I diffuse and neutralize the acidity of disconnection is when you're anchored in the I am presence, and your stand is not to take sides. I mean, Santos yesterday, he said an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and I felt that there was a degree of anger in his voice, like I think two wrongs don't make a right. I genuinely believe that you don't try to bring a system down. You can raise. First of all, I'm very appreciative. I always have been, and I've been fairly, pretty conscious at birth, and understand the essence of my role, and what I can contribute in terms of raising the vibration, and to get to this level of dialogue, revelation, realization, and restoration. So, is it amongst the community at large? We have had numerous incarnations, not necessarily on this planet, other planets, because It's key, because here's the question. When I'm asking you this question, what is it to become a galactic human? Presumably, you've qualified at different stages of incarnations on different planets that qualifies you to be in a level of guardianship, mentorship, because it's a huge. I don't see it as a burden, by the way. I see it as a huge responsibility to carry forward. Do you feel like the Donald Trump, for example, do you feel that he's extremely angelic being and his intentions are do no harm, do not impose on the freedom of others? Do you think that he's putting America first? But for me, a high frequency level is, I don't see division. I don't see him. The temptations, yeah, I mean, we're all star seeds. Yeah, I can see that there is an element of division, but as a whole on the planet, the way my interpretation is, I don't want to, we have border controls and things like that, passports and right to travel and things like that. There's so many restrictions. But if we remove all this, there is only one Mother Earth, and there is only one religion, and that is love. I mean, is there something more fundamental than the word love? Well, that is the ultimate, isn't it? And to know how to exercise it. For me, love is not you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I'll scratch your back a million times, and if you don't want to, that's my mantra. If it's, I always say, to live in the moment, to live in the now, to live in the presence. My mantra is, if it's important for Colin and I to evolve to a higher perspective of how we interpret the planet, if it's important, I can't thank the universe enough. If it's not, I can't thank you because it wasn't important. That's how you live in the oneness. You say thank you both sides of the spectrum. You don't take what necessarily is comfortable for you right now because you're living in the moment. The moment means I'm privy to say thank you for all my lessons, of all the hardship. And, I am who I am right now, thanks to some degree of hardship. I've struggled. For me, the struggle was to understand the essence and the real meaning behind the struggle. What is the purpose? For many people struggle, but they don't understand the essence. What is the meaning behind it? So when you have that, the soul to soul thing that you bring.
The way to become a galactic being, in my view, is to know oneself, as God, to know others as God. And when I speak of God, I'm talking about this whole holism of which we are all a part. That really is what, in my view, God is. But this holism is so big and so multi-dimensional with billions and eternal, unlimited expression of itself that it's hard to give it a name. So you can't call it God. That's why in the Hebrew religions they call him the nameless one, because you cannot put the whole into a box and say that's the whole. Although you can, in a sense, in that each part of the whole is programmed into each part of the whole. So each part holds all the information of the whole. But it's for that part of the whole to know itself as the whole. And when it begins to know itself as the whole, and it begins to express itself as the whole, then that is what it means to be a galactic being. And you're right about love. People who want revenge are just people who are angry with themselves because they let themselves down by allowing things to happen. So they blame other people, and so they want revenge, but they were just angry at themselves. But, it's one thing to know something. It's another thing to live it and make it a living experience.
Yes.
And when people take the knowledge out of their heads and then put it into the way they express themselves in the world, that's when this big change will happen.
Yeah.
Where we become the living word.
Is it fair to say we can call it the one mind, the all-knowing, and you don't need validity from anyone? For example, my validity is the feedback, the biofeedback that I get, for example, when I'm authentic and I'm kind to self first, because how I'm treating every sentient being, that includes all the, the minerals, the animals, the fish, everything, how abrasive I am, it begins with self first. So what atmosphere am I creating when I'm going into an uncharted territory? My explanation of enlightenment is, if you go to an uncharted place and you lock eyes with a so-called stranger, what do you see? Ultimately, I see myself. And how do you treat yourself? With kindness, with respect, with great, So it's so important that we can simplify this for people, if you will, by saying, well, it's what you project. What are you projecting? What are you giving? What signatures or markers are you leaving? Is it helping people to raise their essence, to understand it? Because we're all unique souls. No two souls are the same. They carry a unique frequency that helps them to translate information based on their unique abilities.
Yeah.
And we mustn't compare ourselves to each other, but to become. There's a saying, no man is an island. But if we understand that we are all part of one divine ocean, this is what is my viewpoint. And and like you said, things are beginning to surface now, and I genuinely believe that this is the time where, when we're talking about a rapture, where who's going to take ownership and responsibility, and stop. I don't want to blame anyone. I don't want to start pointing fingers and say the government's to blame, or the Rothschilds are doing this, because really, hand on heart, I genuinely don't think that a lot of these people in these sort of high so-called positions, they're very happy people.
No, they're miserable.
I mean, I've had, yeah, please, yeah, if you want to add.
That's their motivation for making us miserable, because people tend to express to others what exists within them, and
Yeah,
they form a family. For instance, if the father's angry and bitter and twisted, he's going to have an angry and bitter twisted home.
yeah,
So that's what these people are doing. They run our governments, they run our corporations, they run our legal systems here, they run all the intelligence agencies, they run the communication systems on the planet. They
yeah.
they are uh, they have no interest in benefiting mankind in any way. They are so self-interested that they think of, all they want. Their motivation is destruction.
Here's a question to that. Do you feel that there is AI, in terms of like certain people that you're seeing? Is it possible some of the beings are absolutely soulless, that they just look human, they act human, they walk among us, making the numbers up, but they're not actually human at all? Because um, I've had the privilege of connecting with David Icke many years ago, a seminar that lasted like 12 hours at the Wembley Conference Center, and his title was, the topic of his discussion, to remember who you are. So when you understand who and what you are, you then, what you're doing is you make two columns. On one, you say what's real, what's not, what's synthetic, and what's organic. That's what you categorize. So, but if you see something that's synthetic, are you going to be sympathetic? What's your approach to something which is synthetic? Well, um, what I find happens, it dissolves, because when you don't energize something, so let's say that synthetic thing was programmed to hurt you. Well, are you going to allow it? Because if you in that stillness, that the eye, you've got these third eye open, you got your chakras all open, this, that, and the other. You know, you can see it, you can feel it, you understand it. We talked about the symbiosis relationship, because this, the way Dolores was describing this place is that new souls are coming through. It's a birthing ground as well. Mother Earth is, because the way I understand it, when you get to that level of enlightenment, you have your responsibility then becomes, you're helping and aiding new forms of life to raise its game. So an animal becoming a human, or a mineral becoming a plant, because you're activating it. And that's, are we on the right wavelength on that?
Yeah. The universe is a very complex space, so I can't claim to know all about the universe. Uh, what I can claim is I was trained as a grid keeper, and so I had to be trained about and taught many things, and it's that which I know from my own experience and been taught from higher dimensional beings, which I'm offering to people. But I
Yeah,
realize there are people who have had a different experience. They've had their own revelation, their own growth in their soul body, and they will express their truth in a different way.
yeah.
And to me, that's fine. I don't want people to follow me. I want
No.
them to understand this information so they can be leaders themselves.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah. And just to, maybe slowly but surely we might begin to wrap things up a little. It's just gone, not that time exists, but we're getting near to 1 hour and 30 minutes, 22 minutes. But what I was going to say is that there are certain modalities that people can practice, I guess, to raise their game. And for me, one of the most powerful is to smile, to laugh. Not because the way I see, I don't see problems as like it's out there to destroy you. I see things like certain challenges in life and how you can understand the symbiotic relationship between the yin and the yang, because you can't have one without the other. For things to shine, we need darkness, and vice versa. It takes two to tango. But when you get to that realization, so fundamentally, uh, our ultimate really is procreation, and to create a place where souls can incarnate and to gain some kind of merit. Because my understanding, true only one currency is spiritual merit. It's unconditional love. I don't, I don't feel that there's anything higher than that. So when you're kind to somebody, what expectations do you have? Because if your operating system is abundance, and there is a word called need, the only thing I understand, the soul needs this holographic projection in order to gain merit, in order to gain some kind of tokens or points that it uses to incarnate and to grow bigger than the summit was 5 minutes ago. That's what my interpretation is. So it's an opportunity where souls incarnate and to discover themselves, to remember, like David Icke said, to remember this, who you are, what you are, and then the struggle suddenly had, because you've come off the wheel of karma, you've come off the hamster wheel mentality. You no longer look at yourself as the victim, but the light giver, the Christ consciousness that we're referring to, because we can hold, because our DNA has changed from 2-strand, we can hold more energy.
yeah.
So, but it's exciting, the fact that one person wakes up, because our connection, our coming together is to ignite, to send that vortex of energy to the planet.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and we can't give what we don't have. So when we are so filled with love and are able to express it to other people without reservation, without judgment, without prejudice. We give it unconditionally, graciously. That's when we change this world. When I say we change this world, I will change the world of my experience by doing that, because it's not my business to change your world.
Yes,
It's my business to change my world.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And if we all say that and all do that, then that world will come together.
So
Because
yes.
ultimately we all want the same thing.
Yeah. Do you feel there's a critical mass numbers that, because I also follow the Global People's Monetary System as simplified divine law, and what, with the likes of Rick Jewers, he claims to be a grid keeper as well, and I don't doubt, because I can see he's been a fantastic game changer, and he's what he's bring, do no harm and do not impose on the freedom of others. He's talking about natural law. It can't be bad, right? So so he's like you've helped raise my understanding and appreciating the real value, because I'm a value builder. I'm not, because I don't compete. Okay, for me, it's value building is you take a perceived value above and beyond the price. For me, it's like time, money, and energy. Because money, I don't worship money. I never have, never will. But money is a tool, and if you use it wisely for the benefit of all, it's a great currency. So there's nothing wrong with money. But if it falls into the wrong hands, but again, it's the symbiotic something, because in order to understand something, you have to go through the opposing polarities. And then what you then do, you bring it into equilibrium, you bring it into order, balance. And then I don't mind going into politics, because I'm not here to name and shame and point fingers and say, I'm nice, he's bad. No. Okay, we all have to take stock of the responsibility. We're all good and bad together, because the all-encompassing God is everything. And I understand that we have to be gentle, because to understand the wheel of karma is like, it's, you can't just pick and choose within the tapestry what is comfortable for you. You got to see the totality of everything. And once you begin to see, the rabbit hole, as we know, is very deep. And everybody is taking out what they feel is truth. But do you feel that truth, like consciousness, is expanding as well? And it needs a playground. It needs a place where it can incarnate and grow. So do you feel that this earth place is a place where souls incarnate also, knowing that it's going to fall into entrapment, enslavement? But at some point in its life, it will rise above and take stock.
Yeah, at this point, I think perhaps we should call an end to this and continue this discussion some other time.
It's been forever. Yeah, I know. Well, look, it's been an absolute privilege, honor to have you on by Activator, and we look forward to having you back in the near future. But in the meantime, keep well.
Keep shining. Thank you. Yeah.
And
love you.
Big hugs, and see you soon.
Take care now. Love you.
Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunian's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and